How a woman changes after realizing she lost someone who truly loved her. He came into your life in a simple way. No games, no masks, just present. He listened to you when you complained about work. I remembered your dreams that you mentioned in passing. I sent you a message asking if you had arrived well. Little things that you didn't even notice at the time. You were used to guys who disappeared, who left in a vacuum, who made empty promises. And suddenly, someone different appeared. Someone who really cared, but you didn't value it. He thought it was an obligation, which was the minimum, that anyone would do the same. You took his love for granted, as if he was always going to be there, no matter how much you ignored him or pushed him to the sidelines, until one day he got tired. He just stopped. And he left. Now you wake up in the middle of the night with that strange feeling in your chest. You pick up your cell phone and almost send a message. Almost. But it doesn't. Because you know. You know you've lost someone who won't come back. And for the first time, you understand what you've really lost. The question that doesn't want to be silent is, what happens inside you when it finally dawns on you that you've pushed away the only person who really loved you? 1. The painful awakening, when the penny finally drops. At first, you don't even notice it. Life goes on. You go out with friends, post photos on social networks, meet new people. Everything looks normal on the outside, but inside, something starts to bother you. It's like a thorn in the side that you try to ignore, but it hurts more and more. You see a couple on the street hugging each other and you feel a strange twinge. He listens to a song he liked and his heart tightens. It passes by a place where you went together, and the memory hits hard. Then comes that moment. It can be at dawn, it can be in the middle of an ordinary day. But it comes. The penny drops all at once. Not slowly, not gradually. It's like a punch in the stomach. You realize that everything he did was not little. It was a lot. It was rare. Those simple gestures that you ignored were proof of true love. And you threw it all away. The mind begins to function differently. You remember every time he tried to get close and you were too busy with unimportant things. Every time he wanted to talk and you diverted the subject. Every time he showed affection and you barely thanked him. The memories come back like a movie you can't pause. And the worst thing is that now you see everything with painful clarity. You realize that you treated badly those who treated you well. That gave value to those who did not deserve it and ignored those who were worth gold. That she was so busy looking for faults in him that she didn't see her own faults. And that awareness hurts more than any breakup. Because it's not just about losing someone. It's about understanding that you've destroyed something precious yourself. At that moment, the guilt comes heavy. It is not that passing guilt that goes away with an excuse. It is the one that stays. That changes the way you see yourself. You look in the mirror, and you don't like what you see. Because now you know that it was you who caused all this. You can't blame anyone. You can't say he didn't try, because he tried. Very much. And you didn't. Denial no longer works. You can no longer fool yourself by saying that it was better this way, that you didn't match, that he had too many flaws. Because the truth is clear now. He was just what you needed, but you realized it too late. And this truth will accompany you from now on, changing every choice you make. But 2, the comparison that hurts. No one does it like he did. You try to move on. He meets other people. He goes out on some dates. At first it even looks promising, but then it begins. The comparison. And it is inevitable. You're in a restaurant with someone new, and they don't even ask you if you like the food. Don't remember what you said last time. It doesn't realize that you're upset. And you think about him. In how he always noticed everything. Every little detail you didn't take for granted before now screams in your face. The new guy takes hours to respond. He always responded quickly. The new one doesn't remember his birthday. He had planned surprises weeks before. The new one talks only about him all the time. He always asked about his day. And no matter how many people show up in your life, none come close. The truth is you've created an impossible pattern. Because now you know what it's like to be truly loved. And everything that comes after seems little. It looks shallow. It seems false. You try not to compare, but it's automatic. It's as if he's left such a deep mark that nothing else can fill that space. The worst thing is to realize that the defects you saw in him were not defects. Did you think he was too predictable? It was stability. Did you think he was clingy? It was true attention. Did you think there was a lack of emotion? It was peace. Everything you criticized was exactly what made it special. And now that you're surrounded by people who have the real flaws, you finally understand the difference. You hang out with guys who disappear for days, who don't make plans, that leave you in doubt, who say one thing and do another. And every disappointment reminds you of what you had. Every lack of consideration shows you how different he was. Every broken promise makes you see that he always kept his word, and that hurts more than any rejection. Frustration turns into anger. Anger at yourself for being so blind, for not having seen the value of what I had, for having wasted something that most people spend their entire lives looking for. And even when you try to convince yourself that you're going to find someone better, deep down, you know. He knows he won't. Because there is no better than him. He wasn't perfect, but he was perfect for you. Now you carry this awareness everywhere. In every new encounter, in every new attempt, you know that you are looking for him in other people, and that you will never find, because what you had was unique. It was real, and you blurted it out. If you've ever been the one who loved deeply and felt invisible for it, learn how to break that pattern inside the Jung method. Pinned link below. Let's continue. 3. The regret that does not go away. Living with what if. Regret is a strange animal. He doesn't come screaming. It settles slowly like a shadow that grows until it occupies everything. In the beginning, you still try to push away the thoughts, but they come back. They always come back and stronger. The questions start appearing out of nowhere. What if you had given it more value? What if you had paid attention when he tried to talk? What if he had shown more affection? These questions have no answer, and that's what hurts. You get stuck in a cycle of painful imagination. Create different versions of the past in your head. Versions where you act differently, where you value, where you return his love. And in these versions, you're still together, happy, building something real. But these versions only exist in your mind. The reality is different, and there is no turning back. Time doesn't help. People say that time heals everything, but that's not true when it comes to regret. Because the more time passes, the more you mature, the more you grow, and the more you understand the size of what you lost. Each new experience teaches you something you should have learned before, and each lesson shows you how wrong you were with him. You see other women complaining about their boyfriends for small things and you want to scream. It means that they don't make the same mistake as you, that they value while they have, that they don't throw away something good just because it's not perfect. But you don't say anything, because he knows they won't understand, just like you didn't understand when you had him. Guilt mixed with regret becomes a constant burden. You carry it on your back every day, in the little things. When you see a happy couple, when someone treats you badly and you remember how well they treated you, when you're alone and realize you could be with someone who truly loved you, that weight won't go away. It just changes shape. Sometimes it gets lighter, sometimes it tightens more, but it's always there. And there are those specific moments, important dates, his birthday, the day you met, the end of the year holidays. On those days, regret explodes. You wonder where he is, what he's doing, if he's happy. And hope he is, even if it means he forgot you, because deep down you want the best for him. I just wanted this asset to include you, but it does not. And it never will. The worst kind of regret is the one you can't fix. You can't go back. You can't undo the choices. You can't erase the words you said or recover the time you wasted. You can only learn to live with it. And this learning is painful. It's slow. And it changes who you are forever. E4. The impossible search. Looking for it in other faces. You don't do it on purpose. It is not a conscious decision, but it happens. You're talking to someone new, and you expect them to say that phrase they always said. You're in a bar and you're looking for the same kind of laugh, the same way of looking, the same way of touching your arm when you're talking, but he doesn't find it. Because these things were his, only his. Each person who appears is automatically measured by a standard that you didn't even know existed, and they all owe them. The guy is handsome, but he doesn't have that smile. He's smart, but he doesn't understand you the way he understood you. It's funny, but the humor is different. It's thoughtful, but it feels forced. Nothing fits. Nothing feels right. Because you're not looking for someone new. You're looking for him with another face. The frustration increases with each attempt. You download dating apps, accepts invitations. It gives chances to people who perhaps wouldn't even deserve a first chance. All because you're desperate to find that feeling again. That feeling of security. To be important to someone, to have someone who really cares. But he doesn't think so. And every disappointment reminds you that you already had it all and threw it away. There are days when you almost give up. He almost accepts that he will not find anyone up to the task. That you'll have to settle for less. Or be alone. But then someone appears who has a characteristic similar to his. And you cheer up again. He is deluded. It creates expectations. But he soon realizes that one characteristic is not enough. Because what made him special was not just one thing. It was the set. It was the way it all came together. And this cannot be replicated. The cruelest thing is when you finally meet someone who looks promising, that has several good things, who treats you well, that shows real interest. But even so, it's not the same thing. Something is missing. That chemistry, that connection, that perfect fit you had. And you feel guilty for not being able to like this person the way they deserve, because the problem is not her. It's you. You who are still stuck in the past. People notice. They realize that you are not present. That is far away, which is comparing. And they leave. And you're alone again, with another failure on his back. One more proof that what you had was irreplaceable, and that you were too dumb to see that when it mattered. There comes a point when you stop looking for it in other people. Not because he found someone, but because he got tired. Because he understood that it is useless. He was unique. What you had was unique. And trying to recreate that is just a way to hurt yourself more. Then you learn to live with emptiness, with absence, with the longing for something he will never have again. The 5. The silence that screams. When he realizes that he doesn't care anymore. At first you thought he was going to come back, that he was going to send a message, that I would miss you, that I wouldn't be able to stay away. But the days went by. They turned into weeks. They turned into months. And nothing. Total silence. And this silence hurts more than any discussion, more than any harsh words, because it means that he really moved on, that you are no longer part of his life, that he managed to forget you. You keep checking his social networks. See that he is well, who is smiling in the photos, that he is living normally, as if you had never existed, as if all the time they spent together meant nothing, and it breaks you inside, because while you're here brooding, blaming yourself, wondering how to fix something that can't be fixed, it just turned the page. The reality is harsh. He loved you, very much, but this love had a limit, and you have crossed that limit. You pushed him away so many times that at some point he got tired of coming back. He accepted that you weren't going to change, that it wasn't worth continuing to try. And he made the hardest, healthiest decision he could make. He left you behind. You try to get attention in subtle ways. Post that beautiful photo. Put a song on social media that you know he'll understand. It passes close to the places he frequents, all waiting for a reaction. But nothing happens. He doesn't see it, don't like it. He does not comment. It doesn't appear. And each of these non-reactions is like a stab, because it confirms what you feared most. You don't matter to him anymore. Despair hits hard at times. You feel like sending a message, to call, to show up at his house, to force a conversation, to beg for one more chance. But something holds you back. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's fear of hearing that he really doesn't want anything else. Or maybe it's the awareness that you no longer have any rights over it. That you lost that right when you didn't know how to take care of what you had. There are times when you get angry. He thinks he's cold. That should at least give you a chance to explain, to apologize, to show that you've changed. But deep down, you know it's not like that. He doesn't owe you anything. He has already given everything he could. He has already waited. He has tried. It has already suffered. And now he's taking care of him, doing what's best for him. And as much as it hurts, you can't blame him for it. The silence continues, day after day, and you learn to live with it. He understands that some doors close forever, that some loves don't have second chances, and that when someone really leaves, it's not because they didn't love, it's because you loved too much and it wasn't reciprocated, and that's the hardest truth to accept. 6. The forced change, becoming someone who should have been before. You start to change, not because he wants to, but because he needs to, because pain forces you to look inside and see everything that was wrong. You notice patterns that you repeated, behaviors that drove people away, attitudes that hurt those who loved you. And for the first time, you really see the problem. And the problem was you. This discovery is not liberating. It's heavy. It's harsh. It's like ripping a Band-Aid out of a wound that hasn't healed yet. But it is necessary. You start working on yourself. Try to be more grateful, more attentive, more present. Learn to value small gestures, showing affection, to give back what he receives. Everything you should have done with him, you now do with other people. Irony hurts. You're becoming the woman he deserved. But he's not here to see it anymore. It's not here anymore to receive this better version of you. He's stuck with the selfish version, with the version he didn't know how to love properly, with the version that hurt him. And now other people will benefit from your change. People who didn't go through what he went through, that they didn't have to endure what he endured. You look back and barely recognize who you were. That woman who complained about everything, that he didn't value anything, that I thought I deserved more without giving anything in return, who treated his love as an obligation. You feel ashamed of that person, and at the same time he feels angry. Because if you had matured earlier, if you had learned these lessons earlier, you would still be together. People around you notice the difference. They say you're lighter, more mature, more aware, and you appreciate the compliments, but inside you're screaming. Because this change was costly. It cost you to lose the best thing you ever had. It was hard to wake up every day with regret. It was hard to understand that you yourself destroyed your own happiness. Change does not erase the past. It doesn't undo what you've done. It doesn't bring him back. It only ensures that you won't make the same mistakes again. That the next person who truly loves you will find someone who knows how to value. That gives back. Who cares? But even knowing this, there is a deep sadness, because the person who transformed you is not here to reap the fruits of this transformation. You go forward carrying this contradiction. It's better now, but it paid a high price to get here. He learned, but the lesson cost him something precious. She grew up, but she grew up alone. And every time you use what you learned from someone new, there is a little bit of pain, because you know, he knows that all this should have been with him. In 7, the weight of conscience, facing one's own guilt. Guilt is different from sadness. The sadness you feel when you lose someone to circumstances beyond your control. Guilt you feel when you know you could have avoided it. And this difference changes everything, because there's no one to blame. There is no cruel fate. There is no bad luck. There is no incompatibility. There's only you, your choices, your attitudes, your selfishness. You relive the scenes in your head. Every time you were rude for no reason. Every time he tried to get closer and you created a wall. Every time he showed love and you ignored it. Every argument you started by. Every moment he needed you and you weren't there. And in each of these memories you see yourself clearly. And he doesn't like what he sees. Guilt wakes you up at dawn. It takes you by surprise in the middle of the day. It paralyzes you when you least expect it. It's a weight on the chest that doesn't go away. A voice in the head that does not shut up. It constantly reminds you of what you did, of what you lost, of what you destroyed with your bare hands. And there is no point in trying to justify yourself, because you know the truth. You try to forgive yourself. People say you need to move on, that he needs to give himself a chance, that everyone makes mistakes. But how to forgive something like that? How to make peace with the fact that you had everything and threw it away? How to accept that you hurt someone who only did you good? It's not simple, and maybe it never will be. There are days when guilt consumes you, that you can't function properly, that anything reminds you of him and you feel worse. You avoid places you used to go together. He skips songs that were played when they were together. Change the channel when you see something that might remind you. But it's no use. The memories are within you. There is no way to escape. The worst part is when you see him happy with someone else. When she discovers that he has remade his life, that he found someone who values what he has to offer. And you should be happy for him. He should wish him the best. And you even want to. But it hurts. It hurts because it could be you. Because you had the chance. Because if you had done it differently, it would be you by his side now. Guilt teaches you, but in a brutal way. It shows you that actions have consequences, that people are not eternal, that true love is rare and needs to be taken care of, that you can't expect people to put up with it forever. These are valuable lessons, but you would give anything not to have had to learn that way. I would give anything to be able to come back and do it differently, but it can't, and you'll have to live with it for the rest of your life. 8. The lonely new beginning, learning to live with loss. There comes a time when you understand, he really understands, that he will not return, that there is no fix, that it's over, and you need to move on. Not because he wants to, not because it is ready, but because there is no other option. Life goes on, with or without him, with or without what you had, and you need to find a way to keep going too. Starting over is not easy. It's not like turning a page and forgetting what was left behind. It's carrying the weight of loss while trying to build something new. It's waking up every day knowing that a part of you is in the past. It is learning to live with a void that will never be completely filled. But it is possible. Difficult, but possible. You start slowly. He goes back to doing things he likes. She reconnects with friends she has pushed away. It invests in itself. At work, in hobbies, in health. Not because he wants to impress someone, but because he needs to find himself again. You need to remember who you are beyond that woman who lost a great love. You need to build an identity that doesn't depend on anyone. People come in and out of your life. Some stay, others just pass. And you learn not to get too attached. Learn to value while it lasts. You learn that nothing is guaranteed, that everyone has a limit, that you need to take care of your relationships before it's too late. These are lessons that came with pain, but that made you wiser. You still think about him, not every day as before, but think, on special dates, when something good happens and you wanted to share, when something bad happens and you wanted a hug. He is still a reference, a ghost that lives in his memory, but little by little, the pain becomes more bearable. It becomes a scar instead of an open wound. There are moments of relapse, moments when you find yourself wanting to send a message, wondering how he's doing, wanting a second chance that you know doesn't exist. But you resist, because he knows that reopening contact won't change anything. It will only hurt more. It will only delay your healing process. Then you take a deep breath and let it go. Loneliness becomes his companion. Not that desperate loneliness of the beginning, but a quieter solitude, more accepted. You learn that being alone does not mean being empty, that you can be complete without needing someone to fill in the blanks, that you can be happy, even carrying the sadness of a great loss. The new beginning does not mean forgetting. It means learning to live with the memory without letting it paralyze you. It means honoring what you have had as you move forward. It means carrying the lessons without carrying the weight of guilt forever. It's a difficult balance that takes time, that requires effort, but that one day perhaps will take you to a place of peace, a place where you can look back without destroying yourself, and look forward with hope.